All right. So we are here. Very
Yeah,
first
yeah.
anti YouTube channel interview. The show doesn't
Yes,
really have a
sir.
name yet. But we here. Expect one of these maybe like once a month for the beginning of this year. Um, got some other stuff in the works that I want to get out to y'all, but in the meantime, we are here with esteemed rapper, greatest of all
That
time,
esteemed
Shamar.
rapper.
Um, this is audio only, but we're comfy as hell. He in the bonnet.
He's
We
just
I'm in
chilling.
I'm in the Carhartt beanie. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Um, so we are here today specifically to talk more so about your new album, Obtuse Ways to Say That I Love You. Phenomenal body of work, might I add. Um,
Oh, much love.
Definitely some of my favorite raps of 2023 easily. Um, I think I want to start this off kind of just talking about my thoughts on the project as a whole.
But
And I feel like this album, like from a discography standpoint, is you kind of fully coming into your own and like fully utilizing your best superpower, which to me is just your ability to be vulnerable. And the bars in previous projects were always like deep and introspective and personal. But tracks like Drew Street, if you can read this, Initiation, are examples of you bearing your soul onto the tracks in more ways than one. On its own, the project is the apt to the title as can be, seemingly traversing through complex ways to express your love, gratitude, fear, growth, and everything else that love encompasses. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know, bro. Yeah, that was a good way to describe it. I don't know. The title kind of changed meaning from like when I thought of the title versus when it's like, okay, now I'm actually using the title or whatever. But I'd say that's probably like a good way to describe it. And I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd say, yeah, my vulnerability is probably like my greatest strength, but it feels weird to say that because it's like, I don't know. It's kind of just, that's just my disposition. Like, I think something that like I was exploring, especially on stuff like after this album, but like the latter half of like working on the album was like this idea of like when the vulnerability don't even feel vulnerable anymore. Cause it's
Mm,
like, this is just me talking,
right.
and it's just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, nah, this is just Tuesday, bruh.
Yeah.
Niggas is writing. It's something crazy. But nah, I appreciate the kind words, bruh.
Yeah,
Means a
absolutely.
lot.
Absolutely. I'm curious about like you say that it changed meanings throughout the process of the project. Can you
Mhm.
expound on that a little bit?
I mean, if I'm being frank, and I don't think like I think that's why like Morning Breath is probably like, yeah, this is if any track was a title track, it would definitely be Morning Breath because Obtuse Ways is high key, it's a breakup album, but it's not like a breakup album in the sense of like, oh, I'm sad, I missed my partner or whatever. It's more just like an annoyed breakup album. Like this shit was fucking stupid. you know? And I think like a lot of the lyrics, especially when I touch on love, was like, this is how I love because like that other shit is just not for me, you know? So when I first made it, it was like obtuse ways to say that I love you, partner. This is, it's gonna be my lovey-dovey shit. I'm gonna have hella tracks and all of that shit, bruh. Like on some like fucking Ensley shit. Like, what is that shit? 22 tracks?
Yeah,
And niggas
some
just
some
being
crazy
like,
shit. Yeah.
I love my home and my peoples are great. And I'm like, hell yeah. And then it's like, yeah, I love my home and my peoples. That's still there, but it's also about more about myself, and also being like kind of not even like fuck romance, but kind of fuck romance in like that traditional sense where it's like it's just me and you versus the world. Nah, I got peoples, bro. I got friends,
Absolutely.
you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I can imagine when you're an artist, it gets a little bit more difficult to that, or maybe even easier to like express some of those emotions. Or maybe you find that it helps to express those in the bars instead of like directly in conversation.
I feel like there's some things, especially not to speak on like new shit, but it's like I feel like in part I worked on this album. This is 2024. I worked on this album like going on about a year ago. Like from maybe like intentionally February to April was me writing this album and like working on it and all of that shit. Like before recording it. So I feel like a bit removed from it, but like listening to like the new shit and even some lines on this album, it's like, bro, I can't say this to my partner. I
Right.
it's like I got demos that's like, ooh, I don't think this relationship is ready for this at this point. I think I
Right.
gotta hold this for a little while, you know? And that's just because like I think in exploring yourself, you go to your future, you know, you go to your present, of course, but you also gotta go to the past. And that's about
Mhm.
confronting certain feelings and like living in good feelings, dealing with bad feelings, and that's the intersections of all of that shit. So I think like doing art in the lens of romance, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't make things easier or harder because it's not like art is a form of expression for me and it helps me articulate things in like proper sentences and shit. But it's not like I'm not one to just send it to my partner and be like, this is how I feel. I'll
Right.
send it to my partner and be like, we need to have a conversation. Also, here's the song,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. Even before we get into the album itself, more so about your rapping. Just coming from a
Mhm.
poetry background, what were some of the skill sets that you possessed in that that you carried over to rapping, if there is even a difference?
Well, I guess the big thing is the mindset. I started writing poetry high key because I wanted to be a rapper. This was like 2017, like right after Tyler dropped Flower Boy. That shit fucked me up, bro. I was like, this is the craziest shit ever. I'm finna be a fucking rapper. And even a
Mm.
little before that, when niggas was into corny ass fucking childish Gambino and shit, you know,
Right.
trying to rap on that no exit beat type thing. But, you know, niggas was like, man, I'm trash. I was like, maybe I'll write poems to like be a better rapper. And it was kind of like, nah, poems are just fire. But one thing when I realized a couple years into writing poems was like I had this desire. It felt like I would make structural choices and it felt like a crutch to like seem deeper. And this was back when niggas was not even deep to begin with. You know? So
Right.
it was like I'm gonna scrap all notions of fucking structure. I would literally just go from margin to margin. I would get like smaller notebooks and just write margin to margin. So it was like no structural choices. So all my poems were like, it has to just be fire line after fire line after fire line. So it's like lines that work in context that can also be taken out of context. And I think that adds to like the collaging nature of the way I work, where it's like I have a poetry notes thing in my fucking phone. I'll just write individual lines. And then my raps are usually just like, okay, this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line, just organizing lines into ways that feel natural and right and like saying whatever I'm trying to say in that moment. But it's less me be like I want to write about things and more like this is what I've written about. Now where does everything go? You know, and that's something I did back then that I still do to this day. That's just like it just makes a lot more sense in my head because it's like I don't know. I think it was like some fucking Rap Ferreira interview where he was talking about like he no, it's either him or Lucid, where one of them were talking about, oh, I don't really like to write songs about things. It's kind of just like I'm not gonna make a love song. I'm gonna write a song and oh, it's about love, you know, or whatever. So yeah, just that mindset is something that I gravitate towards.
Right. I think that definitely comes across in your music because it's like there's not really there's themes in your songs, but there's not like a one central idea or one central like topic that you're talking about in a given song. And so I think that definitely shows through. I feel like I'd be remiss to not start with our song on the project, um,
Oh yeah, for
with
sure.
Vestige. Um, so I've already told you this a bunch of times, but that beat, it wasn't like a beat that I was like, I thought was weak or whatever. It just wasn't one of my favorites for myself personally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then you got on it and it kind of just changed my entire perception of the song.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you to that beat?
Well, I mean, I think like to start off that we gotta talk about fucking collage, which like no disrespect to you, because it's not you at all, but I fucking hate that project. I don't like that project at
Hey,
all,
I don't
bro.
blame. This is how I feel about any of my past work. I just it kind of there's a disconnect there.
Which is crazy. But like with collage, man, I don't know. It's just me. It's just like nah, man. But but it was around the time we were finishing up that when I got that beat. It was because it was after Beware the Monkey came out. and we were just having conversations about production. You were having like, yo, yeah, I want to like make loosen up a bit in regards to production. And I think that beat was one of the beats that were like kind of the it came to fruition because of that mindset change. It was that and the second half of Speakeasy, you know, but
Hmm.
main focusing on Vestige. Um Bruh, it's just like that fucking sample is just fucking crazy, bruh. I don't know. It's like I've always one thing that's kind of been like I feel like my staple as a rapper is that niggas love I love rapping over vocals. Like I love cutting through the beat. It's like I'm boxing with the singer of the sample or whatever. That's my shit. That's just like my love of like Rock Marcy. Cause Rock
Hmm.
Marcy be doing that. He got that joint beds all over Rosebud's Revenge too. But he got that joint Bed Spring King where he's rapping over the sample of the nigga moaning in the bed spring. And I'm like, bro, this is the coldest shit. Or even Muse, where he's fucking just cutting through that nigga talking, bro. It's like, bro, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to copy paste that in my own little way, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it's
So it was just
definitely,
that. And it was happy, you know, happy ass beat.
yeah, it was definitely like some. I think in context of the entire album, it fits like super well. Um, Even on its own, it's like it's just a really good song. I'm very appreciative that you were able to bring the best out of
Yeah,
that
man.
beat.
Yeah, man. Pitchfork placement.
Pitchfork placement. Talk to us nice, man. Talk to us nice.
Come on.
So
Nah.
in your writing process, how do you determine a repeating refrain? Because you tend to do this a lot, where you have something that either in the song is just repeated a bunch of times over and over, or is a bar that comes up a bunch of times, like in your rap discography. Like one thing that I wrote down, my Rust managed fear. I've heard you say that a bunch of times on Collage, and other projects. What is the idea of the refrain? What is that for you?
Um, that's just like some black arts type influence, some Amiri Baraka shit, some Henry Dumas shit. You know, those are my favorite poets. So June Jordan, so on and so forth. I feel like a repetition is kind of like key to blackness. Even that's why I fuck with the notion of the loop. We're going back to that start point. We're journeying through, and every time we come back around, it's a bit different. So that's like a big reason for it for me, really. It's just like I don't know. Also, if the line is hard, bruh, why would I not fucking use that shit again? Like my personal favorite shit that I repeat is function override form. Like
Mhm.
I've dropped that shit. I think the feature is it's not gonna be out by the time this comes out. But I dropped that shit on a feature. I dropped that shit oh, on collage, and I dropped that shit on this album. I just that's just like because it's me. It's a mantra. It's something to remind myself. This is who I am. I think there are lines that are like, this is who I am in this particular moment, but there are lines it's like, this is who I am, and I know this is who I will be. And I feel like my rust managed fear, function override form. Even though like sometimes I'd be insecure about it, not going cap. Sometimes it's like, oh, is this a crutch? Do I be using the same rhymes? But it's like, nah, if the shoe fits, bro, if I'm not going to slide it in without intention, you know?
Absolutely, and I feel like it's not really. I don't think it's a crutch, because a bunch of rappers do that, where they have this bar that comes up every once in a while in their discography. I think it works super well because it, like you said, it's true to yourself. Like it's not like some shit that you're. It's not like you're repeating a punchline. You know what I mean? Like that would be something
Yeah.
completely different. This is, like you said,
Mm.
more of a mantra. Kind of going into like the repeating refrain thing. You have this ability to like slightly alter a line to where it's still using the same words or sounds, but it kind of means something differently. Like, I have nothing from nothing. That's nothings to you. I have nothing from nothings to you. Um, is this not that? It's this not that. Like you do this thing a bunch of times, which just seems like poet literary devices. Tell me more about that and how you included that into your writing process.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of exactly what it is. I think just like in the notion of repetition, if you say something the exact same way every time, it's gonna have the same meaning. And sometimes it's important to put like emphasis on that meaning again and again and again. But other times it's just like here's one meaning, but here's also something else that came to mind that kind of relates in that same world. I have nothing that's nothing to you. It's just like, I have nothing that mean, this is something that just means something to me. I have nothing from nothing to you, just like thinking about I have all of these things. I'm growing into this person, and you're like joining me on the journey on like a romantic sense or whatever, But at the end of the day, what matters is that it means something to me. I need that shit, If you want it, if you got it, so fucking be it. So it's just like kind of just like tweaking meanings or just like putting emphasis on certain ideas that find themselves with throughout the song. It's also just usually like that's just kind of how I tend to like end my verses or whatever. Something I notice is just like not even like in summary type thing, but just like here's the idea I'm gonna go out with. And I might even like on the Sun Mundi feature for mic check or whatever, even that whole end part repeating is just like this is what I'm gonna fuck off with.
Yep. Yeah. Um, so let's talk features on obtuse ways. There's a bunch of them, and all of
Yeah.
them are incredible.
It's Queen of Draft, Fox,
Fox, Money for Water, Naj
Money for
Will,
Water, Gwen, Big Flowers.
Flowers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your process for picking some of these features, and how do you determine who works best on what song?
A lot of it was just it's easier going person by person. So with Queen of Drafts, I knew Queen of Drafts for mad long, since like 2019, probably. We just been homies. And when I started making music, there's dope spoken word poet. When I started making music, I was like, bro, we gotta get a joint in, you know? And then it just was like, bro, this is the right time. I don't know. I got this long ass verse I'm kind of insecure about. Let me get someone to be cool on this shit. Someone who's not fucking lame. And I slid that shit. And I was like, do your thing. And they did their thing, bruh. Um, Fox, Fox, we started talking not long after I dropped Collage. They dropped their album In the Garden, produced by Bloom Cycle. Wild fucking album. We just started talking and we started working on music. And I was like, let's get a fucking track in. We're working on an album. Let's do something for my shit. Cop the beat, boom. Naj was interesting because Naj is Big Flower's friend. And I remember they sent me a demo of one of Naj's shits. And I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy. Who is this? And they're just like, oh yeah, this is my friend Naj. This is like their first time rapping. So I'm like, what the fuck? Let me give them beats or whatever. And then I did Drew Street. I did the demo for that. And then they shot the idea like, oh, we should get Naj on this. So then I hit up Naj, we started talking and it's like, boom, you know? And of course, Money for Water, we started working like right after we like put out our first projects on this like the same day or like within a day of each other. And he hit me and he was like, bro, you're hard. I'd cap beats from you, but I'm broke. And I was like, bro, fuck that shit. And then it's just like I feel like we just communicate through the music. And I had that beat and I knew I wanted him on the album. So I shot him the beat and I was like, I know it got drums, but like, and he did his thing. So it was kind of just like, even with Gwen and Michael, I just sent Gwen the shit. It was like rap on this. And then Big Flowers was like, I did a feature for them. And they're like, if you need anything. And I had the idea and I was like, well, what about this? And they just slid it back. So it was kind of just like the people who were around me at the time are people who I've like always wanted to work with. It's just like putting all of them there and being like, boom, let's just do something.
Absolutely, and I feel like that definitely shows in the music because it's like it doesn't never feel like you're just getting a feature just to have a feature on there. It always seems like there's intent and purpose and like thoughtful consideration to who you're having on your projects.
No, yeah, absolutely. Especially I think with these projects, it was just like, I think you'd sound good on this beat. Here you go. And it's also just like letting niggas do whatever the fuck they want. I know for the Queen of Drafts feature, for the Gwen and Big Flowers feature, and for the Naj feature, my shit was already written and like recorded. And like the demo was already recorded. So they went off like my thing. But with Fox and with Money for Water, it was like they did them. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing. This is how we're coming. And I just followed suit. Just like kind of like having that balance.
With you having such like vulnerable moments in your music, what is your process getting from okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm feeling, to deciphering that and then translating it in to the bars. Because I feel like it'd be disingenuous of me to not say that I don't write anything. So with that said, I find it very difficult to be vulnerable in my raps because it's like these emotions that I haven't even fully deciphered yet, you know what I mean, are getting put into bars and then to be put out to the public. Um, how do you get from point A to point B in terms of that?
Well, I mean, on a technical sense, like I mentioned before, just like the poetry, thoughts, notes thing. Oh, I'm feeling this, and I just write down the feeling, and then like the line kind of comes, forms out of that, forms out of things I see, things people say to me, and it's usually kind of like gibberish until I sit with it and be like, this is a cleaned up version of that line, and then the process of like organizing everything is just kind of that, but thinking more on like I guess an emotional level, it's kind of like I've accepted that like I don't need to know fully like have a definitive 100% answer as to how I feel before I get the line down. It's okay for me to evolve past the line. I have lines on older projects that's like, nah, I don't really feel that way anymore, you know? But and that's okay. And it's like I still appreciate most of those songs, you know? But yeah, I think just kind of being married to like I don't need answers. I just like have to just interrogate myself and whatever comes to that interrogation, so be it. And it's like, even though, yeah, it's vulnerable, whatever, whatever, but it's like, if I don't think the shit is hard, I'm not fucking putting that shit out. There's shit that it's like, even something as simple as like changing the beat or changing the way I say something help me appreciate it a lot more. But it's like I don't put things out just to be vulnerable. Because if I just wanted to be vulnerable, I just keep that shit to myself. I put things out because like I think this shit is hard more than anything. You know?
There was something that you said in there that I thought was pretty interesting. How you feel like grown apart from some of your bars in the past. I feel like that's kind of what's supposed to happen in a way. Like it's kind of a representation of growth throughout your discography. I feel like it'd be, if anything, I feel like it'd be weird to go back to like a. I mean, you still, relatively do, but if you went back to an older project, it was like, yeah, I relate to everything that's happened here. It's like, well, what type of growth have I done in that time?
No, yeah. I don't even think about it as growth of like my discography. I just think it about me as a person. That's like the other thing too, where it's like I don't know, it's kinda just me. It's like I don't there's no, like, artistic self in Shamar, the person. I guess that's part of the reason why I'm comfortable just going by my name, because it's like, it's just me rapping, me who happens to be rapping. But
Right.
it's like, if you talk to me outside of the raps, I'd probably be saying the same thing. Some of the lines were just like, I said this in the conversation. I was like, "Oh, that was kinda cool. I'm
Hmm.
gonna keep that." You know?
Yeah, I like that is a lot of that comes through naturally, not like a contrived like how can I write the hardest bar that it always comes
Yeah.
off very natural for you. So by the time that this comes out, Sunscreen will have been announced. Sunscreen project with you and child actor, legendary producer. How did that collaboration come about?
Um, so that was a Jai too. When Child Actor dropped the instrumentals for a Jai 2. I think a Jai 2 itself already came out officially at that point. So I've heard it before. If I'm remembering right, it did. But this was the first time me really sitting with the instrumentals. And I just went on my IG story. I'm like at my internship or whatever. I'm like, bro, I would die for a fucking Child Actor beat. And then Big Flowers apparently screenshotted it and sent it to Child Actor and was like, give this dude beats. Trust me. I don't know if they sent Child Actor my music at that point. But Child Actor shot over the beat that would become Affirmation 2. Um and then Michael sent it to me and was just like, next time ask yourself. It was, now I know next time ask myself. But yeah. And then so I had that. I hit up child actors, things. We started talking for a bit. Then I got insecure and like I fucked off for 2 months until I finished writing that verse. But then when I got back, I was like, I have the verse. And then, we started talking again. And apparently they have like mad shit in the works, mad shit coming out. Not to gas up child actor, yes, to gas up child actor, actually. Yeah, bro got mad shit coming out. I don't fucking know when, but it's coming out and it's gonna be crazy. But he was just like, because it was just Max specifically who I was like talking to, interacting with, whatever. He was like, yeah, I kind of want to just do something just to have something out. So you want to do like an EP? And at this point, Obtuse Ways was like in the mixing mastering thing. So I was kind of just like, this, ain't shit for me to do. So I was like, how can I say no? It's a child actor. I wasn't planning on it, but it's like if anything can interrupt my plans, it's like an EP with my favorite producer, So bro just shot me beats and then I just rapped on them. And then, it wasn't anything crazy.
Obviously, I've gotten to hear the project at this point. The approach on this feels a lot more certain. Obtuse Ways being like a friendlier, like yet vulnerable introduction to the masses, while this is a lot less apologetic in tone. Is this intentional or just a natural progression, do you think?
I guess it's just a natural progression. I think like I don't know that whole summer I was kind of like letting my nuts hang. I can't even cap, bro. I think in the midst of me writing Sunscreen, that's also where I wrote Is This Not That? And that's like the verse where I'm like, yeah, this I'm here. That's the big verse where I'm like, I'm definitely here. So I think it's just me being more comfortable recording, me being more comfortable being like, yeah, I'm a rapper. I'm writing raps right now. In that specific 2 weeks of the summer was probably like me being comfortable mentally, not being like in anguish. So it's probably that also helped. Yeah, it's just kind of me going with the vibes, me being in a slightly better space for like whatever amount of time, you know.
Mm. On the subject, shameless plug, Real Graps, go run that up. Is This Not That? Me and Shamar. Cheap
Yes,
Heat, me and
sir.
Suave Dubois. Real Graps, go
Oh,
pump that.
that also reminds me. That's another thing that happened. I performed for the first time. I had my first set before I started Sunscreen. So I think that was like when if Sketch 185 tells you, bro, that was crazy, I'm up.
Right,
This
right.
is Sketch 185, bro. One of my favorite rappers ever.
Salute,
Yeah.
salute. So the title track, Sunscreen, with J Cinema. Salute to J Cinema. One of my
Yes,
favorites
sir.
on this project. There's a refrain that you both kind of say, "Cold world, you know niggas need summer," and it feels like obviously that ties into the idea of sunscreen being protection against the summer that we are in need of. Um, tell me more about that, and if I'm on base there.
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say because honestly, with that track, it was kind of like Jay and I we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this thing, and I sent him a couple beats, and he was like, yeah, this one. And I was like, okay, cool. Here's kind of what I thought the project was about at that time, which was I guess when I was working on the project seemed a lot sadder than I think it actually is. I think it's very sentimental. I wouldn't necessarily call it sad or anything like that. It's definitely not obtuse ways. So yeah, so then he kind of sent back his verse and like the whole thing, whole take and everything with ad libs and all. And then he repeated that, cold world, niggas need summer. And then it was just like, damn, I don't know. That's just cold, bro. Jay, I mean, Alchemy not out yet when this come out, but like, mix the sunscreen with the Alchemy, bro. Alchemy's a fucking amazing. But I didn't realize it at that time because I didn't hear Alchemy yet. But Jay's kind of just like on a notion of artist growing into himself. It's like he's like, yeah, I'm here. And that verse kind of feels like a byproduct of that, just like having that confidence, being in that mind space of what alchemy is and all of that stuff. Um, I guess thinking more about how I interpreted it, it was kind of just like if you think of sunscreen as like a protection from, the harsh realities. The sun is coming and it's beaming, global warming and all of that shit. But there's also like the cold world because it's really fucking brick. The world in it of itself is horrible on a lot of levels. So we need the sun, we need that heat, but we don't need it that much. We need sunscreen too. So I guess I think of like mediation, which is something that I kind of thought about in hearing that line. But also just like fuck the way the world is. Fuck white people.
Yo,
So on and so forth, bro.
somebody
That's just
clip
how
that immediately. Get it out on Twitter right now.
that's how niggas feel, bro. The fuck?
No, that's so
Free to
real.
land and everything in between. That's what that line encapsulates for me.
Another one of my favorites, Affirmation 2. with Demarie, one of the best to ever do this shit. Another shameless plug where I can
Yes,
leave
sir.
out right fucking now. Me and Demar,
Yes,
there's a
sir.
Shamar beat on. I mean, come on, what more could you ask for? Um, but hey, affirmation two on a personal level, very much a dream collab for me. Tell me about how you saw Demarie's fit on this project.
um, well, the thing with affirmation too is like, okay, so with collage, right? Going back to that project, I have the bonus track with Money for Water, and it's like it's a bonus track slash outro. But with affirmation too, that is like a super duper bonus track where it's like sunscreen is about this, and this has nothing to do with sunscreen. It's a bonus track on Bandcamp, and then on like streaming and stuff, it's gonna just be its own little single or whatever. So I guess one thing I thought about, if I'm being like completely honest, was the fact that like Where I Can Leave came out, and Where I Can Leave, I think, is a really fucking good project. And it was like, I need more niggas to know about this dude, you know? So it's like, I recognize that I have a child actor beat. I recognize that child actor in this underground sphere is quickly, amassed a lot of fans, understandably so, because he's mad fucking talented, you know? So it's like, I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to present it to someone who I think is really fucking amazing. So it was kind of just like, I just wanted bro to do him. I was like, this is my verse. You can read, you get an idea what it's about, and do you. And also the notion of affirmation. I feel like he leaned a lot more into like the notions of affirmations and like strictly what my verse is about. But that's understandable because that's like my verse is personal in a way that's like not as attachable as a lot of my other songs where it's like, oh, I can relate to this feeling. I don't know how many people can relate. I think people can relate to being angry at another person who like cut you off or whatever. But I don't know how many people can relate to the experiences that I'm talking about in the way I'm talking about it on that track. So, I think he's more of the point that people can like grab to. I think all artists can grab to him saying, buy my shit or mind your business. That's hard, bro. That's the whole point, bro. He just says like the wildest fucking line. He'll have like a whole verse, and it's like, yeah, I'm with this, I'm with this, I'm with this, and he's like, buy my shit or mind your business. Yes, sir.
Yo,
you know?
Demare, he's the realest, yo. He's the realest. Um, and I think that's interesting what you said about like recognizing your position in this quote unquote scene, um, and like kind of just reaching your hand back and being like, yo, we're all trying to get to where we're trying to get to. Because some people, it's very easy to get lost in the selfishness of what the music industry inspires, um, and just be like, all right, I've got to get here. This I got to take care of me. So I think it's really nice that you are including other people that are you know lesser known in the scene, especially Demaria. He's so talented. I can't wait for more people to hear his raps. I'd be remiss to not talk about this posse cut you put together on Ants Under Magnification.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
you got Vernon McCaw, Bagel, yourself, Gwen, who I'm not as familiar with, but you know he definitely does his thing on it. Um,
Yeah.
how did that come together? Tell me about like whose verse came first, whose verse came last, and everything like that.
Um, my verse came first. My verse came first, which is tends to be rare with features or like when it's like niggas are on the track with me, I usually don't write my verse first. But this one was like, I think I'm trying to think of the order I wrote Sunscreen in, and I think this was the second song. Well, ignoring affirmations, I think this was the second song I wrote. So a lot of my process for Sunscreen was because this was in the span of 2 weeks that I wrote the project. I woke up, I'd listen to beats. I kind of already picked the beats out that I wanted, but I'd still listen to the whole folder just in case I had room to like make changes and stuff. And I was rereading the I Told Bessie zine from Caltrops Press. I was just reading through that and I was thinking about family shit. My family's from the South. So I was thinking about that. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Thinking about how amazing a lucid is, thinking about how amazing Caltrops press is, and how he's able to like express his ideas in a way and connect it to academia, but also just like be poetic and just be an amazing fucking writer. And it's just like feeling super inspired by all of that. Um, so I finished my verse. And then what did I do? The immediate idea is kind of like I think I sent it to Gwen. I sent it to Gwen. Sent it to Gwen, and I sent it to Bagel. And I was just like, boom, every project from like collage on, I'm just gonna have one track that's three niggas. You know, on a collage, I have Shem with me, Gwen, and Burning Macaw. On Obtuse Ways, I have Speakeasy. Oh, that was another thing. It's me, Gwen, and someone else. That's just always the idea. On Speakeasy, me, Gwen, and Big Flower. So it was like, cool, me, Gwen, and Bagel. I think what I wanted was I wanted me to go first, and then I wanted Gwen second, and then I wanted Bagel. And then so I told Bagel come in around the time he came in. But I obviously didn't know what he would do. And he did a really short verse. So off of him doing a really short verse and then knowing Gwen and how Gwen writes, I was like, maybe Gwen could be at the end. And I was like, this was the summer. So Burning McCall, that's my best friend. Been my best friend for years and years now. He's the reason I fucking rap. He's the reason I rap. So it was like, bruh, I need another track with Burning McCall. We had two tracks up to this point, one SoundCloud Lucy and then Shams. I was like, let's do it again. So I sent it to him and I was like, yo, child actor, hop on this beat. And he was like, I bet. And he proceeded to not write it for mad fucking long. Because that's how he rolls, bruh.
Hey,
Shout out to him. He's my nigga. But you get a verse a semester and you get lucky if you get anything else. And I fuck with it. Because every time he comes on the track, he just fucking shits on that
it's
shit. He
it's
just
it's
fucks it up,
monstrous
bruh.
every single time. It's monstrous
Right?
every single time.
So fast forward to like December. I've recorded everything else. The project is just waiting on ants, and even child actors getting kind of annoyed. He's like, "What the fuck? I want to finish this." I'm like, "I want to finish it." He's gonna come back to the city. So I linked up with Bagel. Bagel re-recorded his verse. Gwen sent me his verse, and no, Gwen sent me the demo, and then Cesar pulled through. I read the verse. This is my first time seeing him like perform the verse, hearing the verse, and I'm like, fuck, I got bodied, bruh. What the fuck? Cooked, super fucking
Oh
cooked, man.
man.
Yeah, he shit on that shit, and even like seeing him doing the ad libs and having fun with it. It's like, yeah, this is we're really doing this, bro. On the notion of like, putting niggas on, quote unquote, or whatever. That was definitely a big reason why it's like I want Bagel, I want Burning McCall, even though like Bagel just put out his first project over the summer. I helped out a lot with it, and I think Bagel's been improving at an offensively fast rate. So it's kind of just like, yeah, hop on this child actor beat. Burning McCaw. I don't know when anything will ever come, but it's gonna come one day. It's gonna come one day. So it's like niggas need to know. Regardless, niggas need to know he's not only a talented artist, did the art for Obtuse Ways, did the art for like Nature of My Nature, Trey's EP, mad shit, doing art for more crazy fucking shit that I can't say on this. I
Yeah,
can't say it out loud. But yeah, also an amazing rapper. One of my biggest inspirations personally. So yeah, had to have him on there. And Gwen's hard. Gwen's hard body, bruh. So niggas had to fucking have that shit on there too. So yeah, it's kind of like that's kind of that's it of it. It was just like, let's just fucking do it. Let's have fun. I think it feels interesting, like recognizing that like this is objectively a big deal, in the sphere that I'm in. The me personally having a project with child actors a big deal, but I kind of was just having fun. It was kind of like it wasn't Obtuse Ways was serious. This was not serious. This was me kind of just like learning how to loosen up as a rapper and just have more fun. Still be myself, but I'm having fun. I'm chilling.
absolutely. And I think that comes across on the project, especially ants how we were talking about, just like me being like the hip hop Puritan that I am, I just love a good posse cut. Like going
Mm.
back to like hearing Cowboys by the Fugees on the score, I was like always in love with the
Yeah,
idea of the
for
posse
sure.
cut. So I think including that on this project, where like I feel like in the quote unquote underground scene or whatever, the posse cuts aren't like a huge thing. The only people that I really see doing that would be like Hidden Renaissance, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
they do it consistently. But also
yeah,
I'm thinking of like Woods and Elucid be doing posse cuts.
yeah,
So mainly Wood. I was gonna say
yeah,
Armin here, but like it's mainly Woods. You had Sardonyx on I Told Bessie. You had the joint NY Next or
That's
whatever
the one that came to
on
mind for
UPO.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
You know, it's like they be doing fucking Quale Chris is involved in a lot of these too. But it's like they be doing posse cuts, you know. I feel like I don't know. I think if you think more on like on the level of even like Jay Cinema be doing not to fucking spoil alchemy. That shit got a crazy posse cut. But that I'm on. Shout out to me. But yeah, I think I think of like I think a lot of the scene has like very what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to projects, it's like this is a very serious affair. And because this is a very serious affair, posse cuts are like not the wave. Not in a like ill posse cut sense, but just in a like I feel like posse cuts are inherently fun. It's niggas coming in the room and it's like we're all gonna rap back to back to back, you know? But I think just knowing like some of my friends, my close peers, and knowing what they got coming up next and everything, I think a lot of us are like learning how to loosen up, have that posse cut, have the let's talk, let's just have fun, you know. So I'm happy about that. And I'm happy to also have fun. More posse cuts. Let's have more
More
posse cuts.
posse cuts. 2024, 2025. We're bringing back the
More
posse
posse
cut.
cuts, more hooks,
More hook.
more
Yo,
raps.
bring back the hooks. Bring back the raps. I mean, the raps never went anywhere, but
Nah,
but
you
you
know,
know,
but just more raps for fun.
more raps. All right, this has been an incredible talk. Um, do you want to announce the date for sunscreen?
I mean, if we're doing this right, it's already announced. It's coming out February
Right.
2nd, 2024. Bandcamp Friday. So buy it on Bandcamp Friday. It's gonna be on streaming as well. Um, music video for the title track coming out at some point. Working on it, you know. Maybe another music video coming out at some point for another sunscreen thing. Maybe also music videos for obtuse ways coming out. Um, do I say more about what I'm doing in 2024?
Yeah, put the people on. Plug yourself.
Um, the plans are producing an album for Fox. Producing an album for Fox. We are recording, wrapping that up, you know. Producing an album for Bagel that is coming out on Anti. First, I think non Kilimanjaro. That was crazy. First
I
non
know.
Kilimanjaro involved project on Anti. Shout out to Bagel. Um. Uh. I'm probably dropping. I'm dropping. Economy of Speed on streaming. I'm gonna put that on streaming because I really like Economy of Speed. That was fun. On the notion of
Yeah,
fun, that was a fun project.
I feel you.
Um. I'm dropping other songs this year, most likely. I'm dropping Lucy's. That's the plan. Maybe an album this before the year's over. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it because I wanna roll this album out really appropriately. I want to take my time with that. But yeah, the album is with Outside House, produced by Outside House, very dope producer. Also working on an album produced by Bloom Cycle, equally dope producer. Both coming out within, I don't know, 2024, 2025, 2026. Long as the world's here, I shall be rapping. Uh yeah, I think that's all I'm comfortable announcing, you know. Yeah, that's it.
Busiest person in hip hop, ladies and gentlemen. Shemar. That's
Wait, fuck. I forgot. I'm gonna plug other niggas now. Hold up. Money for Water is dropping an album this year. I might have hella beats on there, you know. Shout outs that. Like I said, bro, shout outs J Cinema, fucking Alchemy, album of
yo,
the year.
alchemy. Please, whenever
Also coming
alchemy is
out
out,
February
please
2nd.
tap the fuck in.
February
Tap the
2nd.
fuck
Wow,
in.
fucking album. Yeah, tap into all my friends, bro. All my friends are hard. Shout out Sun Mundi. Shout outs Miles Cook. Shout outs Hester Valentine. Shout outs Big Flowers. Shout outs my laptop that's dying. Um, and shout outs Queen of Drafts. Shout outs my mom. Shout outs my dad. Family, friends. Shout outs Autumn. Shout outs Kova. So yeah, yeah. That's it.
But it's while we're here, in the name of alluding to future projects, antithesis. That's all I'm gonna say. Antithesis. No other words.
Antithesis. I don't even know what
Antithesis.
that is.
Hey, we holding secrets here. Antithesis. Be ready for that 2024. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Expect one of these a month. Um, maybe some more content. Gonna try to get some music videos out from where I can leave. Other stuff as well. Just be ready. Lock in with us. It's anti, bro. It's anti.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for tapping in. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.